Good morning children and welcome back to the online session of English Grammar of class 5. So I hope you are doing well, and now we have to begin the next chapter, which is subject and predicate, chapter number 3. So let us begin. We know that a sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense. This we have already learned in the chapter 2, just the previous chapter, the sentence. We have already completed this, that a sentence is a group of words that make complete sense. Example, Suhana is a good student. Now, we know that this is a group of words and it makes complete sense. So, this is a sentence. So, now we will understand what is a subject and a predicate. A sentence can be divided into two parts. A sentence always has two parts. Suhana is a good student. Suhana is the subject. And is a good student is a predicate. Now look at the subject. Suhana is the subject because the sentence is about Suhana. What the sentence is about? Suhana. Who is being talked about in this sentence? Who is this girl? This is Suhana. So Suhana is the subject. The words is a good student is the predicate, because this part tells us something about the subject Suhana. This is the predicate. The rest of the words are predicate. Why is it predicate? Why it is called predicate? Because it tells something about the subject Suhana. What is being said about Suhana? That she is a good student. So there something is being described about this girl. So this description is the predicate because it tells us something about the subject Suhana. Next, let us look at the definition of subject and predicate. You have to also learn it because the yellow box is very important. Yellow box indicates the definition. The part of a sentence which tells us about the sentence is about. That tells us what the sentence is about is the subject. The part of a sentence which tells us what the sentence is about is the subject. We looked at it in the sentence. In this sentence, we found that this sentence is talking about a girl named Suhana. So this is the subject. Tells us what the sentence is about. This sentence is about Suhana. So this is the subject. So now, understand what is a subject. A subject can be a person or a thing. It can be anything. It can be the name of a person. It can be a noun or a pronoun, or it can be a thing. Okay? About whom something is said. So it can be a noun or a pronoun or the name of a thing. Okay? The subject can be a name of a thing, and it can be a noun, or it can even be a pronoun. Okay? Next, the part of a sentence which tells us something about the subject is the predicate. Now, the next part of the sentence is the predicate. And what is a predicate? A predicate is the part of the sentence that tells something about the subject, that describes the subject. Something is told about the subject, that part is called the predicate. It can be a word, it can be a group of words. Okay? So, let us read some more sentences. Now here, the subject and predicate is differentiated here. Okay? This is a sentence actually. The first one, birds fly. Here, these two words are written separately under the heading subject and predicate. But it is one sentence. Birds fly. Birds fly. Full stop. In which, what is the subject? Birds. The sentence is about birds. We are talking about birds. So this becomes the subject. And what is this bird doing? What is the activity of this bird? What is the action being performed? Fly. So this is the predicate. Okay, this is the predicate, because this is the, we are talking about this subject. This is the subject and this is the predicate, because we are talking about this subject. This is, we are talking about this bird. Okay, so this becomes the subject, and what is this bird doing? This bird is flying. So fly is the predicate. Similarly, in the next sentence, the birds flew away. Again, what is this sentence about? Who is flying away? Who flew away? The birds. So the bird is the subject. Simple. And what did these birds do? They flew away. So flew away is the predicate. The two babies were feeling scared. The two babies were feeling scared. This sentence, this is a complete sentence, children. Though it is written in different box, but it indicates, but it is one complete sentence. Okay, it is just given in different box, in separate box, just to show which is the subject and which is the predicate. The two babies were feeling scared. What is this sentence about? Just think. What is this sentence about? This sentence is about the two babies. So the two babies are the subject. This is the subject, and what did they do? The two babies, they were feeling scared. Okay, they were scared. So this is the predicate. All right. Next, as we can see, the subject and the predicate can be made of one word. As we can see, the subject and the predicate can be made up of one word, as in example 1, 2 words as in example 2, or more than 2 words as in example 3. So in all these sentences, you can see that in the first sentence, birds fly. In the first sentence, birds fly, there is only one word in the subject and only one word in the predicate. So it can be this is also one example. You know it can be 2 words also, it can be more than 2 words also. This is just to give you an idea, that a subject can be a one word, it can contain 2 words, or it can contain more than 2 words also. Made up of one word, as in example 1. In example 1, the subject is made up of only one word and the predicate is made up of only one word here also. Now in the second sentence, 2 words. The subject is made up of 2 words, the birds, and the predicate is also made up of, it contains 2 words, flew away. In the third sentence, the subject contains 3 words, the 2 babies. And the predicate also contains 3 words, were feeling scared. So this is just an example to show that it can contain even one word or it can contain more than one word. Okay, this is what this box is about. Okay, this is just to explain you that it can contain one word or more than one word. So just remember that much. Okay, so now we will come to this part, the order of the subject and predicate. Now here this is very important, the order of the subject and predicate. Usually the subject comes before the predicate, but often for emphasis, the predicate can come before the subject. Usually the subject comes before the predicate. So here I have explained you. The subject is usually placed before the predicate. Usually, try to understand usually. Why usually is there? Means most of the times, but not always. Okay? The subject is usually placed before the predicate, but sometimes the order is changed. But it is not always so. Okay? Sometimes it may happen that the predicate will come before the subject. For example, in that jungle lived a lion. Here you can see, just read the sentence, in that jungle lived a lion. First try to understand what is this sentence about. This sentence is about whom? About a animal called lion. So lion is the subject. Though it is coming at the end, it is still the subject. Okay? And what is the action of this lion? What is he doing? What did he do? He lived in that jungle. In that jungle lived a lion, or you can also write it, a lion lived in that jungle. Okay? So in this sentence, what is the subject? What is this sentence being talked about? It is being talked about a lion. So lion is the subject. It is still the subject. But this subject, in this sentence, the subject has moved to the first part of the sentence. And what is this lion doing? What was the action? What is being told about this lion? That he lived in that jungle. So this is the predicate. Okay? The meaning is still the same. The sense has not changed in this sentence. Only the subject has changed. But just to make it more clear, I have written it in some other way. Here the words are changed. Okay? In that jungle lived a lion. Why do we do this? Why can you see this lion coming in the last, at the end, and this predicate coming in the first place? Why is it so? Before the predicate, usually the subject comes before the predicate. As you have seen here, the subject is coming before the predicate. But here in this subject, the subject is, is coming in the last. Why so? Because, but often for emphasis. Why do we do this? For emphasis. Emphasis means to put focus, to put more focus. To put more focus. What is the focus of this sentence? What is being told about this line? That he lived in the jungle. So just to put more focus about the lion, we have put this this predicate in front of the subject, just to put more emphasis, just to emphasize about this lion. This predicate has come before the subject. In that jungle lived a lion. Okay? So it can also be written as a lion lived in that jungle. In both the sentences the meaning is the same. However, the placement of subject and predicate has changed. I will give you more examples of it. The letter came after a few days. The letter came after a few days. Look at the sentence. What is this sentence about? Just think of it. What is this sentence about? About which? About what thing? About the letter. So the letter is the subject. And what is being told about this letter? What happened to the letter? It came after a few days. So it came after a few days is the predicate. Alright? Now, we have just interchanged some words. We have just played with the words. And we have formed a new sentence. Just look at it. After a few days came the letter. After a few days came the letter. Now just think, children, in this sentence, what is the subject? What is the subject here? You can see the subject is still the same. It is being talked about the letter only. Here also, the subject is still the same, the letter. And what is being said about this letter? That it came after a few days. After a few days came the letter. So the meaning is still the same. Only the position of the subject and predicate has changed. In the first sentence, the subject was in the beginning of the sentence. In the second sentence, it has come at last. Okay? However, the meaning has not changed. Only we have put more emphasis. I told you, emphasis means to focus more, to put more pressure on something. Only to bring more focus about the letter, we have put these words in the beginning. After a few days came the letter. What happened to the letter? That it came after a few days. So this is how, in some of the sentences you will find the subject coming after the predicate. Okay. So now let us move forward. Again, in imperative sentences, the subject is not mentioned. So I hope you remember what is imperative sentence. We have already studied in the previous chapter. Imperative sentence is a sentence that gives a command, request or advice. An imperative sentence is that which expresses a command, request or an advice. We have already learnt it and I have made you write it. Okay, it was a homework also. So I hope you remember it. If you don't remember, please revise it again and again. In imperative sentences, the subject is not mentioned. Now here, go to sleep. Go to sleep. This is a command. Okay. Imperative sentence can be a command, a request or an advice. So this is a command. You can see here, and that makes it an imperative sentence. Go to sleep. Can you see a subject here? It is not to be seen, children, but it is always understood. It is always understood. Okay. So I have written it for you here. In imperative sentences, the subject is always you. In imperative sentences, the subject is always you. It is not mentioned. It is not mentioned but always understood. It is not mentioned means it is not written in the sentence, but it is always understood. How? Go to sleep. So if at home also, when your father or your mother tells you go to sleep, they look at you and ask you, they command you, go to sleep. Whom are they talking to? Obviously they are talking to you. So who this sentence is about? It is about you. So you is always implied. It is always means it is always understood. Though it is not seen here, it is not written here, but it is always understood. Go to sleep. And this command is for which was about whom? About you. Next, get up from the bed. So this is also a command. Na? You also, your mother must be waking you up from the bed every morning. Get up from the bed. So whom is she pointing at? She is pointing at you. So this command is for you. So you is always understood. It is not written. You will not see it, but it is always there. If in exam it is asked, what is the subject in this sentence? Go to sleep. Don't say that there is no subject here, because it is about you. Okay, so you will be the implied subject. You have to write that the subject is you. That you have to write. If I'll ask you what is the subject in get up from the bed, what is the subject in this particular imperative sentence, you will have to write that the subject is you. It is very simple. Here also I have given you some example. Go there. Okay, if somebody looks at you and say go there. So obviously this command is for you. So you is not written here, but you is always understood. Next, take medicine on time. Whenever you fall sick, your doctor says take medicine on time. So whom is this doctor pointing at? Whom is he advising? This is an advice, imperative sentence. So this is an advice. Take medicine on time. So this advice is being given? It is given to you. So obviously the subject is you here. It is not mentioned, it is not written, but always understood. Next, come here. If somebody looks at you and say come here,